Hello there, welcome to the Sleepy Knowledge channel. You settle into the quiet. The night stretches softly around you, like a deep breath drawn by the earth itself. The air feels still, yet alive, a hush that carries distant echoes of ancient time. Tonight, your mind drifts to a place carved not by hands, but by patience. The Grand Canyon, a world where stone remembers. You imagine standing at its rim, where the horizon folds into infinity, and every shade of color tells a story older than memory. The canyon waits beneath you, vast and silent. Its walls glow in faded golds and sleepy reds, the skin of the planet exposed. You can almost feel its slow heartbeat beneath the soles of your feet. A pulse that began when the world was young. Each layer of rock is a whisper from a different age. Together, they form a lullaby written by time itself, sung in tones of silence and sand. You imagine tracing those layers with your eyes. The upper rim gleams in sunlight, pale and warm. Beneath it lie darker bands, deep with iron and shale, pressed together over billions of years. These are not just rocks. They are chapters of Earth's story, moments frozen in stone. Each band a line of poetry, written by wind and water long before there were eyes to see it. The oldest layer, the Vishnu schist, lies hidden near the canyon's heart. It was born 2 billion years ago, when molten rock rose from the planet's depths and cooled into darkness. Above it, newer layers settled, soft and patient, sandstone, limestone, shale, like blankets upon the Earth's dreaming body. Each one tells of oceans long vanished, of rivers long dry, of worlds that came and went in silence. As you drift deeper into thought, the vastness no longer feels distant. You can almost hear it breathe. The canyon exhales warmth by day and inhales cool desert air by night. Every grain of sand has fallen from a cliff that once stood taller, stronger. And still, the stone endures, not resisting change, but moving with it, slowly, gracefully, in the rhythm of centuries. You picture rain falling into the canyon, single drops at first, tiny as whispers. They slip between cracks and gather in secret pools, joining others until they form streams. These streams find the river below, the patient Colorado, the quiet sculptor of all this wonder. Over millions of years, it carved its way down, carrying away dust and memory, revealing the bones of the planet one layer at a time. You think of the river as time itself, steady, unhurried, eternal. It winds through the canyon like a silver thread through an ancient tapestry. Sometimes calm, sometimes wild, it speaks in murmurs and roars, carving silence into meaning. Each curve it shapes is a gesture of love between water and stone. Each bend holds the memory of rain, of gravity, of the long dance that never ends. In the fading light, shadows begin to stretch across the canyon floor. The rocks blush in colors too soft to name: peach, rust, violet, and rose. It feels like watching the earth dream in slow motion. The air cools. The wind slows. Somewhere, an eagle circles, tracing invisible spirals above the abyss. Its cry fades like a note from another world, drifting through stone and sky. You close your eyes and imagine touching one of those walls. The rough warmth of sandstone beneath your fingers. It feels alive, almost breathing. Tiny grains slide beneath your touch, the same grains that once lay on the floor of an ancient sea. Long ago, sunlight danced across waves where you now stand. The ocean withdrew, leaving its sediments behind, letting wind and pressure turn them into the rock that now cradles silence. The canyon is not just a place, it's a memory too large for words. A slow unfolding of creation. Every line and crack is the signature of patience. You imagine the planet spinning through time, wearing its own body into beauty. No rush, no noise. Only the quiet persistence of existence. The same rhythm your heart follows as you breathe. The same rhythm the universe keeps as it expands and cools. Night arrives gently, wrapping the canyon in velvet darkness. The last rays of the sun slip away, leaving behind a soft glow at the horizon. Stars appear, hesitant at first, then countless, endless. You watch them shimmer above the canyon's rim, their light taking centuries to reach you. Each star is another layer of time, another whisper of creation. You feel small beneath them, yet deeply connected, as if your breath and the canyon's breath are one. You think about how this place has seen everything. The birth of continents, the passing of ages, the rise and fall of oceans. And through it all, it has simply endured, quietly, patiently. You realize there is comfort in that, in knowing that the earth does not hurry. It becomes what it must, when it must, just like you unfolding in your own time, layer by layer, thought by thought. The air cools even more now, and you can almost smell the faint sweetness of sage carried on the breeze. Somewhere down below, the river moves unseen, murmuring to the stones. You imagine the sound, deep, rhythmic, ancient, like the heartbeat of something greater than yourself. You let that sound fill your mind, washing over your thoughts, erasing their sharp edges until only calm remains. The canyon around you begins to blur in the darkness. Its edges soften, its depth fades into shadow. It becomes less a place and more a feeling, vast, peaceful, eternal. You sense the presence of time itself sitting beside you, quiet and kind. The stars above shimmer like reflections in unseen water. The earth below hums softly as if dreaming of itself. You breathe in, slow and deep. The air feels cool and grounding. You imagine each inhale as a tide rolling through the canyon, filling every hollow, touching every layer of stone. Each exhale is a soft release. The wind that has moved through these walls for millions of years, carrying the same stillness into the night. You feel weightless now, suspended in the calm between worlds. As your thoughts drift, the canyon becomes an ocean of sleep. The cliffs turn to waves, the stars to reflections on their surface. You are floating now, carried by the rhythm of time, the whisper of stone, the deep and endless patience of the earth. The night folds around you, vast and gentle, and everything, the river, the stars, the ancient rocks, moves together in one long, quiet breath. The river moves slowly through your imagination, its voice soft and low, like distant thunder turned to song. You picture the Colorado winding through the Grand Canyon, calm in some places, restless in others. Its waters shimmer under the sky, catching sunlight like fragments of glass. For millions of years, this river has carved its story into the bones of the earth. It has no rush, no end, only a rhythm older than memory. You imagine standing at the canyon's edge, watching the water far below. It looks so small from where you are. A thread of silver stitching together walls of time. Yet that thread holds the power to shape worlds. It carries ancient dust, fragments of forgotten mountains, and minerals that glimmer in the morning light. Every drop is a traveler from distant snowfields, melting, joining, becoming part of the endless current. There's a quiet wisdom in its motion. The river doesn't push or resist. It simply flows, adapting, curving, finding its way through obstacles. The canyon you see today was sculpted not by force, but by patience. Century after century, the Colorado deepened its path, carrying away grains of sand and memory. The slow breath of the earth became visible through its persistence. Written in stone and silence, you think about how the river began. Long before the canyon existed, before the cliffs rose in color and form. Rain fell on high plateaus, gathered in streams, and began its journey toward the sea. Slowly, imperceptibly, it wore down the land. The ground yielded to the soft insistence of water, revealing the stories buried beneath. Layer by layer, the river revealed time itself, a sculptor whose only tool was endurance. As you imagine drifting closer, the sound of the river grows clearer. It's not loud, not wild, more like a soft conversation between water and rock. The current hums over stones smoothed by ages of touch. Pebbles roll gently beneath the surface, clicking together like beads in a dreamer's hand. You feel the rhythm settle into your chest, sensing with your own slow heartbeat. The air near the river feels cooler, fresher. It smells faintly of wet stone and ancient silt. You can almost taste the minerals in the mist, a trace of the mountains far upstream. The breeze carries the scent of juniper, sage, and sunlight baked into stone. Somewhere a raven calls, its echo stretching across the canyon like a note in an endless song. Everything moves together, the sound, the scent, the stillness. You imagine dipping your fingers into the water. It's colder than you expect, but not unpleasant. The chill travels up your arm, reminding you that this same water has touched glaciers, storms, and clouds. It has lived 1,000 lives, as vapor, as rain, as river, returning again and again to the cycle that never ends. In that thought, there's something deeply soothing. The world moves on, always renewing, always flowing. The sunlight dances on the surface, forming ripples that shimmer like golden threads. Each ripple moves outward, blending into another, until the pattern disappears. You think of how every movement, no matter how small, changes the whole. The river doesn't need to see the ocean to know where it's going. It trusts its path, shaped by gravity, time, and the quiet wisdom of the planet. At night, the river glows differently. The moon paints it in silver and shadow. You can almost hear the water breathing beneath the stars. The canyon walls reflect the moonlight, turning soft and blue, like distant waves frozen in stone. The river's voice deepens, resonant, as if the earth itself is humming a lullaby. You let that sound carry you, each note like a gentle pull towards stillness. You remember that the Colorado River has carved nearly a mile deep into the Earth's crust. Beneath its flowing surface lies a history written in minerals: quartz, limestone, basalt, and shale. Each layer tells of ancient oceans, volcanic fire shifting continents. You imagine the slow crumble of cliffs, the collapse of boulders, the dust carried downstream to become part of something new. The river transforms everything it touches, yet remains the same, endlessly becoming, never finished. There's a lesson in that motion, soft and profound. The way it accepts every twist in its path. The way it carries both beauty and burden, silt and sunlight. The river does not cling to what it passes. It moves forward, patient, certain that every curve brings it closer to the sea. You can feel that same current within you. A quiet reminder that peace isn't stillness, but surrender. As you drift deeper into the thought, the canyon grows darker, quieter. The stars above reflect in the water, trembling slightly with the current. You can't tell where the sky ends and the river begins. It feels as though the universe is flowing through the canyon. A cosmic stream moving through time, connecting sky and stone in one infinite motion. You are both observer and participant, floating gently in its rhythm. You listen again. The sound of the water has changed. It whispers now, softer, like a secret shared in confidence. The wind carries that whisper through the canyon, weaving it among cliffs and shadows. It becomes a lullaby, one sung by the earth to anyone who stands still long enough to hear it. You let it fill your mind, washing away the noise of thought until only calm remains. Somewhere far downstream, the river bends, vanishes into distance. You imagine following it in your dreams. Through narrow passages, over hidden rapids, into wide valleys where reeds sway in the wind. The journey feels endless, but peaceful. The deeper you drift, the slower everything becomes, until time itself seems to move with the current. You notice the reflections of the stars shifting on the surface. They drift and blur, as though the river is gently carrying the night sky away. It reminds you that everything flows. Light air, thought, and life itself. The canyon listens as the river hums its story to the universe. The rocks absorb it, the air repeats it, the stars shimmer to its rhythm. You close your eyes and imagine lying beside the river, the sound surrounding you like a blanket. Each wave carries a fragment of deep time, the patience of mountains, the grace of rain, the soft persistence of erosion. The river does not sleep, but it dreams, and you drift into that dream with it. The dream of motion without hurry, of change without loss, of silence that speaks in flowing tones. Somewhere beyond the canyon, the river continues, past deserts, forests, and winding valleys. It will reach the ocean one day, and then rise again as clouds. Its story will begin again, in another time, another form. But here in the quiet of the canyon night, it flows just for you. Slow, gentle, eternal. You breathe in steady and calm, and feel yourself floating in that rhythm. The slow breath of the Colorado becomes your own. The night hums softly, carrying the voice of water and wind together. You let go of the edges of thought and drift with it. The river moving, the stars reflecting, the canyon sleeping. All of it part of the same quiet pulse that runs through the heart of the earth. The light changes as the day drifts deeper into afternoon. You imagine standing on the canyon's edge, watching the walls glow in layers of red, amber, rose, and violet. The colors seem to breathe with the sun, shifting, deepening, softening. It's as though the rocks themselves are alive, absorbing warmth and releasing light in slow, silent sighs. The Grand Canyon becomes a living canvas, and every second paints a new story across its ancient skin. You can almost feel the temperature of the air. Warm, dry, and filled with dust that glitters like powdered sunlight. It hangs there, motionless, caught in invisible currents. The air smells faintly of stone and time, of minerals warmed through countless days. As you breathe, it feels like inhaling history. Each molecule once part of a mountain, an ocean, a star. The colors of the canyon shimmer softly, a symphony of stone sleeping beneath the sun. In the distance, shadows deepen where the cliffs fold into themselves. The deeper you look, the more you see. Ochre blending into coral, rust into violet, gray into gold. The canyon holds every color of fire and every hue of dusk. Its walls are painted by iron, copper, and manganese, elements born in ancient stars, scattered by time, pressed into stone. When sunlight touches them, they awaken, glowing as though the universe itself lingers in the rock. You imagine moving your hand across one of those walls. The surface feels warm, rough, layered. Each ridge and groove is a line written by water, wind, and centuries. You can feel where rain once ran, leaving faint veins like the marks of sleep on skin. The sandstone crumbles slightly under your fingertips, fine grains catching the light. It's not decay, it's renewal. The constant, quiet reshaping of the world, one grain at a time. As the sun lowers, the canyon's colors soften. The fierce reds cool into shades of rose and mauve. The gold fades into pale amber. Light slides down the cliffs, pooling in the deeper folds like melted honey. For a few moments, it feels as though time itself slows, stretching into something tender and still. The canyon exhales, and so do you, breathing in the rhythm of light and stone. The beauty here isn't loud. It doesn't demand your attention. It invites it quietly. Every color, every shadow feels earned, the result of patience and erosion, of the slow artistry of nature. Iron becomes rust, rust becomes pigment, pigment becomes memory. The earth paints itself in its own heartbeat, using sunlight as its brush. You stand in the middle of that masterpiece, small but perfectly placed. You think about how the colors of the canyon change, not only with the time of day, but with the angle of light, with clouds, with the season itself. In the soft blue of early morning, the walls look cold, almost ghostly. By noon, they burn with copper and flame. In twilight, they turn to deep purple, fading into night like embers cooling in sand. It's a reminder that beauty is never still. It breathes, transforms, and fades only to return again. Somewhere high above, a hawk glides along invisible air currents. Its shadow dances briefly over the rock, flickering across reds and golds like a brushstroke in motion. The canyon seems to hold its breath as it passes. In that brief flicker, everything, wind, stone, sky, feels connected. Even the silence has a color to it here, a muted gold that hums softly behind every sound. You imagine watching the sunlight travel down the canyon walls. It moves like a slow tide, revealing hidden shades within the stone. There are hints of green from ancient copper veins, streaks of white where limestone peeks through. The deeper you look, the more the canyon reveals. 1,000 subtle hues layered together, each the product of heat, pressure, and the long patience of time. It's a kind of cosmic art, sculpted and painted by the universe itself. The colors you see now were not always here. Long ago, when this land lay beneath warm seas, the sediments were pale and soft. Over millions of years, iron from groundwater stained the rocks red. Manganese turned them violet, and oxidation brushed them with gold. What you see is the slow alchemy of the planet. Minerals transforming through the dance of air, water, and sunlight. The canyon wears these colors like memory, like the dream of every age it has lived through. The wind brushes past your skin, gentle and cool. It moves through the canyon like a sigh, lifting faint dust that glows against the light. The rocks seem to shimmer as if alive, as if they remember the stars they came from. You imagine the minerals glowing faintly at night, long after the sun has gone, still holding echoes of the day's warmth deep inside. The canyon is never truly dark. It keeps a quiet ember of light within its heart. Evening deepens. The sun leans low and shadows climb the walls. What was once golden now turns soft lavender. What was crimson becomes deep wine. The transformation feels slow and graceful, like the earth closing its eyes. Every moment brings a new tone, a new softness. It's as though the canyon is exhaling color, releasing it into the night sky above. You imagine the air cooling, the warmth of the stone lingering under your fingertips. The ground beneath your feet still holds the sun's heat, pulsing faintly like a sleeping creature. Above, the sky melts from copper to indigo. The colors of the canyon fade, but they don't vanish. They simply rest, waiting for morning to wake them again. Even in the darkness, you sense them, muted, hidden, breathing quietly beneath the stars. The last light slips away. The sky deepens to violet, then black, and the first stars appear. The canyon now holds two worlds, the stone below and the sky above, each reflecting the other in silence. The walls, once bright, are now silhouettes of shadow and memory. You can almost feel the heat leaving the rocks, rising into the night like invisible mist. It's as if the colors have turned to sound, soft, slow, humming through the stillness. You breathe in the night air, cool and clean. It feels lighter now, touched by starlight and distance. You think about how those colors, those glowing reds and golds, came from the heart of stars that died billions of years ago. Iron, copper, oxygen, all born in the furnaces of suns, the very elements that make the canyon glow once burned in the heavens. Now they sleep here, silent and solid, holding the memory of cosmic fire within their grain. The canyon becomes a bridge between the heavens and the earth. Its colors are the language of both. Stardust turned to soil, light turned to stone. The walls shimmer faintly as moonlight begins to spill across their faces. The reds turn to silver, gray the golds to blue. Every shade softens, melts, and blends until the whole canyon seems to glow from within. The night feels alive with quiet radiance. You can almost hear the color. If you listen closely enough, a low vibration, a hum beneath the sound of the wind. It's the music of minerals, the slow song of oxidation and light. The canyon has been singing this song for millions of years, though few ever notice. It's the sound of beauty unfolding too slowly for the human eye to see, but always there, whispering in the quiet spaces between moments. As you watch, the stars grow brighter, their reflections trembling faintly on the river far below. The water carries those reflections like memories, folding the light of the sky into the depth of the earth. Every ripple feels like a heartbeat, every shimmer a sigh. The canyon and the cosmos mirror one another, both endless, both alive, both painted with the same dust of creation. You close your eyes, and the colors remain behind your eyelids. You see them shifting, red, gold, violet, blue, fading gently into one another, as if the canyon has found its way into your dreams. You breathe slow and steady, and feel that warmth settle in your chest. The light of the day, the colors of the earth, the calm of the stone, all drifting together into one long, peaceful breath that carries you deeper into the quiet. The sun fades gently behind the canyon's far rim, and the sky begins its quiet transformation. You imagine standing there as twilight deepens, the air cooling, the light softening into gold, then blue, then velvet black. Above you, the first stars begin to bloom, one by one, faint as sighs. The Grand Canyon stretches beneath this sky like a sleeping giant, its vastness swallowed by shadow. You can feel the earth slowing, exiling, preparing for the silence of night. The stars grow bolder as darkness settles in. Each one seems to pulse with a rhythm you can almost hear. The Milky Way rises, a river of light flowing across the heavens, mirroring the Colorado below. You tilt your head back, and it feels as though you're floating between two infinities. One made of stone, one made of stars. The sky above and the canyon below echo each other, two reflections of the same vast stillness. You imagine the air growing crisp, filled with the faint scent of sage and dust. The desert cools quickly after sunset, each grain of sand releasing the day's stored warmth into the night. You draw a slow breath and feel it. The dry, clean taste of starlight and distance. It feels ancient, untouched, as though you're inhaling the same air that drifted through this canyon thousands of years ago. Everything around you, stone, river, air, feels suspended in the same breath. High above, the stars shimmer with impossible clarity. The canyon is one of the darkest places in North America, far from the haze of city light. Here, the night sky returns to its true brilliance, billions of suns, each whispering across the void. You watch constellations emerge like stories written in silver ink. Orion leans toward the horizon, Cassiopeia reclines in her throne, and the North Star steadies itself above the Earth's quiet spin. The whole sky feels alive, as if breathing in rhythm with the land below. The light from those stars began its journey long before the canyon even existed. Some have traveled for thousands of years to reach you, others for millions. Their glow carries memories of ancient galaxies, supernova, and cosmic dust. The same dust that forms the canyon's walls. You realize that what you see above you is not the present, but the past, still burning, still speaking in light. The canyon below feels like an echo of that same story, carved in stone instead of fire. You listen closely. There's a sound in the stillness, a kind of silence that hums softly, endlessly. The canyon holds it like a vessel, amplifying the smallest whispers of wind, the faint trickle of distant water, the gentle rustle of unseen wings. It feels as if the air itself is aware, attentive. Every sound is slow, deliberate, timeless. You can sense the pulse of the night, not in noise, but in the spaces between. You look down at the river below. It glimmers faintly under the moon, a dark ribbon coiling through shadow. The water catches stray starlight, breaking it into ripples of silver. It feels as though the river is carrying the sky itself through the canyon. Stars flowing in liquid form, constellations drifting downstream. You imagine dipping your fingers into that water, feeling the coolness of space itself brushing against your skin. The moon rises slowly, a pale lantern emerging from behind the cliffs. It spills light into the canyon, revealing shapes that had vanished into darkness. The rocks glow softly, no longer red, but silvery and blue, like ancient marble. The edges of cliffs sharpen, while the shadows deepen, creating a landscape that feels both real and unreal. You can see the outlines of trees, faint and still, like quiet guardians of the night. The canyon becomes a dream of stone and light, held between moon and earth. Somewhere far off, a coyote calls. The sound carries through the vast space, long and echoing. It fades into the canyon's folds, blending with the rustle of wind through juniper leaves. The night responds with its own language. Distant, patient, eternal. You feel it in your chest, the way sound becomes silence again, leaving behind only vibration. The stars shimmer a little brighter, as if they too are listening. You notice how the night sky never stands still. Even in its calmness it moves, slowly, gracefully. The stars wheel above you, turning with the Earth's rotation, tracing invisible arcs through the heavens. Every hour, the constellations drift westward, changing their positions like dancers in a slow, celestial ballet. You realize that everything, the river, the wind, the stars, moves in rhythm with something larger. The canyon simply rests at the center, watching the eternal dance unfold. You remember that light itself never truly stops. The photons hitting your eyes left their stars thousands of lifetimes ago, and yet they arrive perfectly on time. The same light has crossed space, touched planets, brushed against dust, and now rests gently upon your skin. You are, in this moment, bathed in the oldest light in the universe. The night becomes sacred, like a silent cathedral made of stone and starlight. As you gaze upward, your vision adjusts further. You begin to see faint smudges between the stars, distant galaxies, each one holding billions of suns. The Andromeda galaxy drifts faintly across the sky, 2.5 million light-years away. And yet its light touches you tonight. You think about how both Andromeda and the Milky Way are moving toward each other, destined to merge one day, forming a new galaxy in the far future. Even the stars above the canyon are part of a slow, patient transformation. The moon climbs higher now, its silver glow washing the canyon walls. Shadows stretch and contract, following the light's gentle command. The cliffs appear softer, smoother, almost translucent. The air grows colder, brushing against your skin like fine silk. You breathe deeply, and the air feels heavy with peace. Not silence, but the kind of calm that holds all things within it. You imagine lying back on a flat stone, the surface cool against your body. Above you, the stars ripple like a vast ocean, every wave a point of light. The Milky Way stretches across the sky, a bridge of fire and dust. You feel as if you could step into it, drift upward, weightless, and walk among the constellations. The boundary between sky and earth blurs until you no longer know which is which. The night deepens further, and the world grows even quieter. The river's murmur becomes distant, like the sound of your own breath. The canyon walls disappear into shadow, leaving only the sky and its endless shimmer. You are surrounded by space, cradled by light that has traveled across eternity to find you. The stars feel closer now, as if they've gathered to watch over your stillness. You imagine the ancient peoples who once stood here. The Hopi, the Havasupai, the Navajo, watching these same stars long before modern maps or machines. They read the sky as a storybook, each constellation a tale of spirit and creation. The stars were guides, companions, ancestors. You can almost hear their quiet songs carried by the same wind that brushes past you now. The sky above the canyon is older than language, yet it speaks to every soul the same way. Time dissolves as you watch. Minutes stretch into hours, and still, you don't want to move. The universe feels vast but gentle, infinite yet intimate. You are a single breath in its great rhythm, no more and no less. The light of dead stars glows on your face, soft as candlelight, and you feel yourself becoming part of the quiet, as if the night has folded you into its dream. The canyon beneath you sleeps, its vast heart steady and silent. The river continues its slow journey, unseen, but constant. Above, the stars wheel patiently, glowing through air so clear it feels eternal. You drift between them, not in body, but in thought, floating between stone and sky, between gravity and light. Everything feels weightless now, vast and tender, as though the universe is humming you to sleep. You are invited to drift into a world where science feels like starlight and learning becomes as gentle as a dream. Tonight, your mind will wander through one of nature's most enchanting mysteries, the way your brain dreams. You close your eyes, your breath slows, and your thoughts begin to shimmer like soft waves under the moon. What feels like sleep is actually a cosmic journey within yourself, a voyage through memory, imagination, and light. You imagine yourself drifting deeper, past the border between waking and rest. The world around you fades into silence. Your heartbeat becomes the only sound, slow and rhythmic, like a drum echoing through a distant cave. Inside your mind, tiny sparks begin to flicker, neurons communicating in bursts of electricity, sending whispers through your sleeping brain. You are both the dreamer and the dream, both the traveler and the landscape being traveled through. As you drift further, your brain waves change their tune. Alpha rhythms, calm and steady, fade into the slower hum of theta waves. Each wave feels like the tide retreating, carrying your awareness with it. Your mind begins to loosen its grip on time, on space, on names and faces. Thoughts melt into images. Memories dissolve into colors. A door opens, quietly, and you step into the strange, beautiful realm of dreams. Inside this place, logic no longer rules. You can fly through forests made of light. You can breathe underwater or talk to the stars. The brain is no longer bound by physics or reason. It paints with emotion, with imagination, with fragments of experience stitched together into story. Every night, your sleeping mind becomes a poet, a painter, a filmmaker, and an explorer all at once. It creates worlds for you to wander, to feel, to forget. Scientists call this stage REM, rapid eye movement, the time when your brain becomes most alive in sleep. Beneath your closed eyelids, Your eyes flicker rapidly, chasing the images that fill your dreams. Your heart beats a little faster. Your breathing changes rhythm. It's as if your body is watching a secret movie made just for you, projected by the deepest parts of your mind. In this quiet theater, every memory, every desire, every hidden thought finds its own reflection. You imagine standing in a dream, perhaps on a mountain of glass, or floating in a city of clouds. Every detail feels vivid, though none of it is real. The colors seem richer than waking life. Sounds ripple through the air like music made of water. You reach out your hand, and the world responds. Mountains shift, skies bend, oceans rise. Your subconscious is the architect here, shaping every atom of the dream from fragments of thought. It's strange to think that these visions are born from simple biology. Electrical signals and chemical messengers firing in the dark. The neurotransmitter acetylcholine lights up the visual parts of your brain, painting with the language of sight. Dopamine adds emotion, making the dream feel real. Meanwhile, the prefrontal cortex, the part that questions and analyzes, falls silent. That's why in your dreams, the impossible feels natural. You don't ask why you're flying. You just soar. Your sleeping brain becomes a time traveler. It revisits moments long forgotten. A voice from childhood, a scent from summer, a song your mother once hummed. Sometimes it weaves these fragments into something new. Other times, it heals them, replaying painful memories in softer light, giving your emotions a chance to rest and reorder. Dreams are not chaos. They are therapy disguised as wonder. Even animals dream. You picture a dog twitching in its sleep, paws moving as if it's chasing something invisible. Cats, dolphins, birds, all enter their own dream worlds. Somewhere deep in their brains, familiar circuits fire, replaying instincts and moments. Evolution shaped dreaming not as an accident, but as a rehearsal. A space for the mind to practice, to process, to imagine new possibilities. The dream is nature's rehearsal for life itself. You wonder how strange it is that every night, the brain shuts down the senses, yet keeps its theater alive. Your body rests, your muscles paralyzed by design, so you don't act out your dream. But your mind continues to create, alive in a universe made of thought. You drift through galaxies that don't exist, speak to faces that never were, love and lose and fly and fall, all within the safety of sleep's embrace. Sometimes, your dreams turn lucid, a moment when you realize you are dreaming, yet the dream doesn't fade. You gain awareness inside the illusion, and the world bends to your will. You can walk through walls, breathe beneath the sea, or hold a star in your hands. Scientists believe this happens when parts of the prefrontal cortex flicker awake, rejoining the dream with consciousness. It is a delicate balance, half sleeping, half aware, a twilight of the mind. You imagine exploring that lucid space. The dream responds like water around a swimmer. You think of light, and the sky brightens. You imagine music, and it fills the air. Every thought becomes creation. Every feeling shapes the world. It's as if you've discovered a hidden dimension within yourself, where imagination and awareness merge into one. You are both the painter and the paint. But even when you forget your dreams, they still leave traces. They shift moods, reorganize memories, strengthen connections between ideas. The hippocampus, the brain's librarian, uses sleep to file away the day's experiences, deciding what to keep and what to release. Dreams are part of that process, sorting emotional clutter, weaving meaning into the fabric of memory. You wake lighter because of them, even if you can't recall why. You think of all the times you've woken from a dream that faded too quickly. Just fragments left behind. a color, a voice, a sensation. Scientists say dreams disappear because the brain's memory systems aren't fully awake during REM. They're designed to let go. Like writing in sand at the edge of a tide, your dreams are meant to dissolve, leaving only the feeling behind. That feeling lingers. The quiet awe, the unspoken truth that something vast moved through you in the night. Sometimes dreams carry patterns. A recurring place, a familiar face, an endless chase through shifting streets. These are the echoes of your deeper mind, the themes it returns to again and again. Psychologists once believed they held hidden meanings. Now, we think they reflect emotional repetition, the unfinished stories your subconscious is still trying to tell. Yet even without explanation, they feel sacred. Messages written in the language of sleep. You imagine the brain as a forest at night. Neurons spark like fireflies, blinking in patterns across its branches. Streams of thought run between them like glowing rivers. Somewhere in that dark forest, a dream is being born, a fragile constellation of signals forming an image, a sound, a feeling. It flickers briefly, then fades, replaced by another. The forest glows and hums softly, endless, alive. Scientists still don't fully understand why we dream. Some say it's for memory, others for emotion, others for creativity. But perhaps it's also for wonder, the mind's way of remembering how vast it truly is. In waking life, we live in one world. In sleep, we live in 1,000. Each night, you return to that inner cosmos, where everything you've ever seen or imagined continues to exist, waiting for you to close your eyes. Outside, the real world continues. The stars turning, the earth humming softly in its orbit. But inside, your dream world unfolds like a second sky. It mirrors the cosmos, vast and luminous, with each neuron a tiny star. You drift among them, floating through constellations of thought, galaxies of feeling. The boundaries between body and mind blur until you are simply light, moving through light. Somewhere deep in your sleeping brain, another dream begins to bloom. It's quiet at first, just a ripple, a whisper, a flicker of color. Then it expands, taking shape, growing roots and branches, creating a world that feels endless. You step inside it without knowing, becoming both the observer and the creator. Your heartbeat slows, your breath deepens. The night folds around you like the wings of a great, gentle bird. The science of dreaming will continue to evolve. Researchers will map new regions, trace new connections, uncover new meanings. But no explanation will ever capture what it feels like. To float between reality and illusion, to live 1,000 lives in a single night. You drift through it like a traveler between worlds, guided by the rhythm of your own sleeping mind. The deeper you go, the softer everything becomes. Sound, time, self. And as your body lies still, your consciousness wanders through this inner universe, vast, luminous, and infinite, where each dream is a new constellation, flickering softly, waiting for you to find it. You imagine the Grand Canyon just before sunrise. The air is cool, still, and expectant. The horizon begins to soften, and a pale gold glow stretches slowly over the sleeping cliffs. Light gathers at the rim, spilling into shadowed valleys, painting the ancient stone with warmth. The canyon, so vast and silent, begins to awaken under the first breath of morning. You feel the earth itself exhale, a slow, tranquil sigh that moves like wind through your thoughts. As the sun rises higher, its rays descend like fingers of fire and silk, touching each ridge in turn. The rocks catch the light and seem to breathe with it, changing from deep violet to rose, then to amber and gold. Each layer of stone, sculpted by millions of years, becomes a shifting palette of color. You can almost feel time itself glowing in those walls. Shadows move gently, retreating into corners, giving way to a brilliance that feels alive but never hurried. The dance of light and shadow is endless here. Every moment changes the story written across the canyon's face. What was hidden becomes revealed, and what was bright slips quietly into shade. You realize that the canyon isn't still at all. It is always moving, always changing. Not in sound or shape, but in color and light. It's as if the sun and stone are performing an ancient duet, one that has been playing for millions of mornings and will continue long after you are gone. The light doesn't just touch the rocks, it touches you too. You feel it on your skin, soft and comforting, like a whisper from the past. Your mind slows, your breath deepens, and the boundaries between yourself and the landscape blur. You are part of this rhythm, part of this slow unfolding. The light enters your thoughts, warming them, brightening the quiet spaces where your worries used to live. When the sun climbs higher, the canyon gleams with fierce beauty. The cliffs reflect light in every direction, scattering gold and crimson across the air. Dust motes drift like glowing embers. You imagine them as tiny planets orbiting through a sunlit galaxy of stone. Shadows stretch far below, tracing the invisible paths of eagles and rivers long vanished. Even in full daylight, mystery lingers in the folds of the land, as though each crevice hides its own secret sunrise. Then, as the day matures, the light begins to soften again. The sun tilts toward the west, and shadows return, long and graceful, gliding down the canyon's walls like slow rivers of darkness. You watch as color changes once more. Gold fading into bronze, bronze melting into rose, rose dissolving into violet. It is a transformation so subtle, so patient, that it feels like watching the earth dream. The canyon is not losing light, it is exchanging one kind of beauty for another. Evening arrives quietly, without sound or hurry. The rocks cool under the fading glow, and the air thickens with stillness. You can almost hear the silence deepen. The last rays of sunlight linger at the rim, tracing the jagged edges of cliffs before slipping away. For a moment, everything is balanced. Not day, not night, but a perfect in-between. You feel suspended in that balance, hovering between light and shadow, between waking and rest. As twilight deepens, the first stars begin to appear. They blink softly above the canyon, reflected faintly in the river far below. The shadows no longer seem dark but gentle, a soft blanket wrapping the earth. You sense that the light hasn't disappeared, only transformed. It lives now in the stars, in the glow of the moon, in the quiet shimmer of your own imagination. The canyon sleeps, yet the dance continues, now played by celestial light instead of the sun. You think of how the canyon was formed, how water, stone, and sunlight worked together across unimaginable spans of time. The river carved, the wind polished, and the light revealed what patience had created. Every layer of color you see was once buried in darkness. The sun, across eons, has slowly lifted it into view. In that way, the canyon is a story of light, not just its presence, but its persistence. The dance of light and shadow isn't only a sight, it's a feeling. It mirrors the way your thoughts move, bright one moment, soft the next, always flowing. The canyon teaches you something wordless, that beauty can live in both brightness and obscurity, that each needs the other to exist. As you watch the day fade, you feel a similar rhythm inside you. Every moment of worry, every spark of peace, all of it dances, just like light and shadow across stone. The longer you watch, the slower time becomes. Minutes feel like hours, and hours like eternity. You begin to notice the smallest things. How the air cools on your skin, how the color of the sky deepens from gold to indigo. A bird glides silently across the canyon, its wings catching the last streaks of light. Somewhere far below, the river still glimmers, mirroring the stars that are just beginning to wake. It is a quiet reflection of how everything in the universe moves together. The stars above, the river below, the light within. Night deepens, but the shadows don't feel empty. They are filled with the memory of light. You can almost sense the rocks, still glowing from within, holding the warmth of the day like a secret. In your mind, the sun continues to move, even beyond the horizon, circling the earth, promising to return. That promise feels ancient, older than the canyon, older than the stones themselves. It is the rhythm of the cosmos made visible in one small corner of the earth. You imagine lying at the canyon's edge, watching the stars bloom overhead. The moon rises, pale and gentle, casting silver across the cliffs. The shadows shift once again, reshaping the world in soft monochrome. The moonlight doesn't compete with the sun. It continues the dance in a different key. Each beam touches the stone like a painter's brush, turning the canyon into a dreamscape of silver and shadow. You feel yourself dissolve into that dream, quiet and weightless. Even now, as the world sleeps, light continues its slow journey. It travels from distant galaxies, crossing endless space to reach this very place. Some of the starlight you see tonight began its journey before the canyon even existed. You are witnessing time itself, stretched into beams of light, meeting your eyes after millions of years. The thought is vast, yet soothing. A reminder that even the smallest flicker of light can travel forever through darkness. As you drift, you imagine that the canyon itself is breathing, expanding and contracting with the rhythm of night and day. Its walls hold centuries of sunlight, layers of color shaped by time's patient hand. Each sunrise reveals something new, yet ancient. Each sunset invites stillness, reflection, and rest. The dance of light and shadow is not only on the surface. It lives inside every grain of sand, every atom, every quiet heartbeat. You close your eyes and can still see it. The gentle shifts of brightness and dusk, the slow movement of illumination across the mind. The same rhythm plays behind your eyelids, in your dreams, in the quiet chambers of your thoughts. Your brain, too, is a canyon, carved by experience, deepened by emotion, illuminated by moments of understanding. Light moves through it constantly, shaping who you are, revealing what you hold within. Somewhere in that drifting half-sleep, you sense how everything is connected. The sun above, the river below, the mind within. The universe breathes in cycles of light and shadow, wake and rest, life and quiet. You breathe with it, matching its rhythm without effort. The canyon is vast, but you are not apart from it. You are part of its light, part of its shade, part of its eternal, patient dance. And as the moon rises higher, the canyon becomes still once again. The stars settle into their slow paths. The shadows stretch across the land like soft silk. The air hums faintly, filled with memory and time. You feel the night fold around you, gentle, infinite, and calm, as if the universe itself is preparing to dream once more. You imagine yourself standing near the canyon's edge, where the horizon stretches endlessly in all directions. The world above feels immense, open, and exposed. But far below, in the shadows and folds of stone, another world quietly lives and breathes. A hidden realm that many never see, gentle, secret, and alive in ways the surface cannot imagine. You begin to drift downward, following the invisible threads of wind and sunlight that slip between the canyon walls. The air grows cooler as you descend, filled with the scent of damp rock and ancient dust. The sounds soften too, The echo of your breath, the murmur of distant water, the faint rustle of wings. This is the canyon beneath the rim, where life gathers in fragile pockets of shade. Tiny ferns cling to the stone. Insects hum softly, their bodies shimmering like jewels in the filtered light. You can feel the shift, from the open heat above to the secret calm below. Down here, the sunlight filters through narrow gaps, falling like golden rain. Every beam seems to hold its breath, as though careful not to disturb the silence. The canyon walls glow faintly, their colors deepened by shadow and moisture. Between the cracks, life flourishes. Small mosses, pale flowers. Roots reaching into the cool stone for hidden streams. It's a quiet miracle, this persistence of life in a place carved mostly from dryness and time. You pause near a trickle of water, a remnant of the Colorado River's veins. It glides over pebbles, murmuring softly to itself. Each drop carries the memory of mountains far away, of rain that fell centuries ago and wandered through rock to find this path. You dip your fingers into it and feel the story of time written in its chill. The water has seen the birth of cliffs, the fall of stones, the first flight of desert birds. It moves slowly, but it remembers everything. Small creatures emerge as you linger. A lizard with skin like sun, warmed copper pauses on a rock, blinking its ancient eyes. Its tiny body absorbs the day's heat and radiates calm. You notice the patterns on its back. Shapes like the canyon itself, as if the land and its life share the same design. In the distance, the faint chirp of a canyon wren echoes, pure and descending, like a song that was always meant to fade. Everywhere you look, the hidden world reveals itself in fragments. A bee drifts lazily between pale blossoms of cliff rose. A spider's web trembles in the breeze. Strung between two stones like a silver bridge, ants follow invisible paths through dust and shadow, carrying grains of sand larger than themselves. They all move slowly, purposefully, as if time down here runs differently. Stretched out, softened, almost like sleep. You breathe deeply, and the air feels alive. It smells of stone sage and something faintly sweet. The scent of plants that bloom only in stillness. You think of how they survive, rooted in crevices where a drop of dew might mean everything. Their patience is ancient. They do not hurry toward growth, they wait. They know the rhythm of light and dark, of rain and silence. Their calm is the canyon's calm, steady, enduring, eternal. Further along the trail, a small grove of cottonwoods stands beside a hidden spring. Their leaves shimmer silver, green, trembling gently in the faint wind. The sound they make is soft and liquid, like water thinking aloud. Beneath them, the earth feels cooler, more forgiving. You step into their shade and feel your thoughts quiet. You can almost hear the slow pulse of life beneath your feet. Roots drinking, stones listening, the ground breathing. Birds begin to appear, drawn to the secret pools and shaded corners. A raven glides overhead, its wings casting fleeting shadows that move like clouds. A canyon towhee hops through the dust, unbothered by your presence. You watch the way they move. Effortless, unafraid, perfectly adapted to this vast stone labyrinth. The canyon gives them everything they need: shelter, water, warmth, and endless sky. It's a harmony so complete it almost feels sacred. You start to understand that beneath the rim, the canyon is not just stone. It is sanctuary. Every crevice, every ledge, every narrow passage holds a heartbeat. From the tiniest seed to the silent owl watching from a hidden branch, life continues in quiet persistence. You imagine how many eyes might be watching you now. Lizards, insects, birds. Perhaps a fox hidden behind the brush. The canyon's silence is never empty. It is filled with presence. You sit near a smooth boulder and close your eyes. The sun above filters through in warm fragments, tracing slow patterns across your skin. You listen. Somewhere, water drips, patient, rhythmic, unending. A breeze moves through the canyon, soft but steady, like the world whispering its secrets into your ear. You realize that stillness here is not absence. It is abundance made invisible. Everything is alive, even the stones beneath your hands. When you open your eyes, the colors seem deeper. The reds and browns of the rock glow with quiet intensity. Patches of green cling stubbornly to the walls, defying gravity and heat. You think of how these plants might live decades, even centuries, holding on through storms and droughts. Their roots find tiny veins of water deep within the stone, guided by some ancient wisdom of survival. Life here doesn't conquer, it endures. Even the insects seem calm, their movements measured and sure. You watch a butterfly land on a sunlit rock, its wings flickering like flames in the wind. Its presence feels improbable, delicate, yet perfectly suited to this harsh beauty. The canyon doesn't give freely, yet those who adapt thrive in ways that feel almost miraculous. You sense that everything here, every flutter, every breath, is the result of quiet resilience. As you wander deeper, the walls rise higher around you. The air cools further, almost damp now, carrying the faint echo of dripping water. This hidden oasis feels like the canyon's heart, a place where time slows almost to stillness. You can imagine the eons it took for this space to form, each layer carved by patience, each curve shaped by the flow of unseen hands. The earth here is not asleep, it is dreaming. You touch the canyon wall, and the stone feels both ancient and alive. Its surface is rough, yet it radiates warmth from the day's sun. You trace your fingers across the ripples and realize they are fossils of movement. The record of water and wind long gone. The canyon carries memory in its skin. Every mark is a whisper of what once was, every grain of sand a page in the planet's quiet diary. Above, the sky narrows into a thin ribbon of blue. A hawk passes through that sliver of sky, circling gracefully before vanishing behind the rim. Its shadow glides across the canyon floor, merging with your own. For a moment, you feel the connection between all living things. The hawk, the river, the trees, the dust, and you, bound by the same invisible threads of light and breath. The canyon doesn't separate, it unites. As the afternoon deepens, the light grows softer, golden, and slow. You can see how every living thing prepares for evening. Flowers closing, insects retreating, birds settling into the crevices. Even the air seems to pause, holding its breath as the day fades. You imagine how night must feel down here. Cool, endless, and filled with the quiet hum of hidden life. The canyon beneath the rim never truly sleeps, it only shifts its rhythm. The first hints of dusk begin to color the air. Shadows stretch and blur, blending earth and sky into one. You listen to the last bird calls echoing faintly between the stone walls. The scent of sage deepens. Somewhere, a small animal scurries through the brush, and you hear the delicate patter of its tiny feet on sand. Every sound is gentle, unhurried, part of the great lullaby that the canyon has been singing for millions of years. You close your eyes again and imagine roots weaving through the earth beneath you, connecting everything together. Water flowing in hidden channels, seeds sleeping, waiting for rain, the slow pulse of stone. The hidden life beneath the rim isn't just a world of plants and animals. It's a reflection of balance, of harmony born from patience. You feel it inside yourself, that same quiet endurance, that same soft strength that allows beauty to grow even in the hardest places. The sky above begins to dim into violet and silver. The air cools, brushing softly against your face. You feel small beneath the vastness, yet somehow infinite too. The canyon breathes, and you breathe with it. The hidden world fades gently into shadow, alive, mysterious, and eternal, as if the earth itself were slowly closing its eyes. Preparing to dream once more, you imagine the Grand Canyon bathed in the soft light of evening. The air cools gently, brushing against ancient stone faces carved by patience itself. Somewhere far below, the Colorado River whispers a lullaby written in ripples and echoes. The canyon doesn't speak loudly. It hums in tones that only stillness can hear. As you drift deeper into this vision, the vast walls seem to breathe. Their colors, golden, rust, rose, and violet, shift like the surface of a dream. Every grain of sand, every shimmer of quartz, has seen more sunsets than human memory can count. You imagine time flowing like honey, slow and golden, stretching over dunes. The cliffs are like frozen waves, paused mid-motion, sculpted by wind and rain that have come and gone like sighs. In the fading light, shadows rise from the canyon's edges. They move softly, like ancient spirits returning to their resting places. You imagine them gliding across the red stone, leaving trails of cool air in their wake. Somewhere far above, a hawk circles, its wings wide against the pastel sky. You hear the soft wind glide through juniper branches. It carries the faint scent of stone warmed by sunlight, now cooling under twilight's calm. Night begins to weave its deep blue across the sky. The first stars appear, blinking through the thin desert air. Each one seems impossibly bright, as if the canyon itself magnifies their light. You imagine lying at the edge, your body sinking into the warmth of the earth, your breath matching the slow rhythm of the wind. Above you, the Milky Way stretches like powdered light. The canyon mirrors it below, an echo of stars carved in stone. There's a quiet music to this place, one that doesn't need instruments or voices. It's the sound of space between things, the silence between two heartbeats, the pause between the wind's sigh and the river's murmur. You begin to sense how small you are in comparison. But instead of fear, there's comfort in that smallness. You feel as though the canyon has always known you, as though your thoughts have drifted here before, carried by the same breeze that now cools your skin. The air grows colder, thin and pure. You imagine the layers of the canyon glowing faintly in the moonlight. Each stratum a different chapter of Earth's story. Some formed when this land was covered by shallow seas. Others came from volcanic ash or ancient deserts that vanished before humans dreamed of words. You picture the fossils hidden in the rock, tiny shells and ancient bones, preserved like whispers from forgotten oceans. Each layer is a quiet reminder that everything changes, but nothing truly disappears. You listen to the sound of distance itself, the way echoes drift lazily from wall to wall, fading like candlelight. You imagine your voice joining them, soft, carried far by invisible hands. The canyon seems endless, yet it holds every sound tenderly. It's like the universe's heartbeat, steady and deep, pulsing beneath your feet. Somewhere, water drips into hidden pools. The sound is slow and patient, like the ticking of an ancient clock. You think about how this landscape was shaped. Millions of years of erosion, of water cutting through rock with unthinkable persistence. It's a story of endurance told without words. The Colorado River, still flowing, still shaping, continues its silent art. You imagine being one of those water droplets, tiny, glistening, timeless, part of the patient sculptor's dance. Every curve, every chasm, every polished stone is a signature of time. The stars multiply as night deepens. Their reflections shimmer faintly in the silver thread of the river below. The canyon's edges blur into silhouettes. You feel the boundaries between sky and earth begin to soften. It becomes hard to tell where the land ends and the heavens begin. You imagine floating in that inn, between suspended like dust in a beam of moonlight. Somewhere nearby, a coyote calls. The sound travels, bouncing off unseen walls, becoming more than one voice. It's the sound of life persisting in the vastness, a reminder that even in stillness, the world breathes. You think of the small creatures that live here. The owls, the bats, the lizards hiding beneath warm rocks. They all move carefully, quietly, as if they understand the sacred rhythm of the night. You let your mind drift back through time, far beyond your lifetime, beyond humanity itself. You picture this same canyon forming under alien skies, long before stars looked as they do now. Volcanic light flickering over young stone, rain falling in soft sheets across a new earth, slowly, endlessly. The river carving its path, an artist of persistence. You can almost feel the passage of those millennia, not as years, but as breaths. The ground beneath you feels alive, ancient, unhurried. You sense the pull of gravity connecting you to every stone, every grain of dust. You realize that even this silence is full, filled with the hum of the planet's slow turning, filled with the memory of oceans and mountains and winds that once roared across this land. The Grand Canyon is not merely carved rock, it's the earth remembering itself. The moon climbs higher, silver and calm. Its light paints the canyon in shades of blue and gray, turning cliffs into ghostly cathedrals. You imagine the moonlight touching every hidden curve, every dark crevice. You think about how light travels, how these same photons may have touched other worlds, other canyons on distant planets. Now, they fall gently across your skin. You feel them like a whisper, connecting you to everything, everywhere. A faint breeze brushes past again, cool against your face. You hear the faint rustle of distant leaves. The world seems to exhale. You follow that breath, matching its rhythm. In, soft and slow. Out, lighter than before. You begin to understand why time feels different here. Because in the canyon's presence, human time becomes small, measured not in minutes or years, but in the gentle erosion of thought. You imagine floating through this vast space, gliding along invisible currents of air. You see the river winding below, its surface catching starlight like molten glass. You pass over stone bridges, caves, and hidden waterfalls. Each glimmers softly, wrapped in moonlight. It feels like drifting through the veins of the earth itself. Every sound, every shimmer, every breath leads deeper into calm. Somewhere in the distance, thunder murmurs behind the mountains. The sound rolls slowly, miles away, like the earth turning over in its sleep. You imagine rain beginning to fall, soft, silver droplets descending through miles of open air. They strike the rocks, the river, your skin. The scent of wet stone fills the air, sharp and clean. The raindrops gather and begin their long journey downward, each one joining the story that never ends. The canyon accepts everything: light, shadow, wind, water, silence. Nothing is rejected. Everything finds its place. You feel that same acceptance within yourself. Every thought, every worry, every fleeting memory, each is just another ripple, another grain of sand falling where it belongs. You begin to understand the quiet wisdom of the canyon. It doesn't rush. It doesn't cling. It simply allows. The stars above swirl in the high desert sky. Constellations turn like ancient clocks. You trace their paths, feeling your mind loosen, dissolve, expand. The canyon beneath you becomes the cosmos, and the cosmos becomes the canyon. You are both dust and starlight, both the river and the sky. The air hums softly, your breath slows. Your thoughts drift like wind, blown sand into the quiet folds of the night. You imagine the Grand Canyon beneath the first light of dawn, where night slowly loosens its hold. The horizon glows with a faint blush, soft as breath against stone. You feel the world waking with quiet wonder, the cool desert air wrapping gently around you. The canyon walls, painted in layers of time, begin to glow, not with fire, but with the calm pulse of returning day. Each color stirs awake like a dream resurfacing. Rust and rose, amber and violet, shades formed over millions of years, now melting together in the slow rhythm of light. You imagine sunlight traveling across unimaginable distances, just to touch these ancient cliffs. It spills over the edges like warm honey, filling the canyon's depths with gentle gold. The river below glimmers, still half asleep, reflecting the sky's early shimmer like liquid glass. You breathe slowly, feeling the stillness of the world before sound fully returns. No rush, no urgency. Just the delicate hush of a planet between heartbeats. You imagine the air carrying the faint scent of desert sage, cool minerals, and stone warmed by memory. The earth feels alive here, not in movement, but in presence, steady, timeless, awake in its own rhythm. Far below, the Colorado River stretches like a silver thread, winding its endless story. You imagine how long it has flowed, cutting, carving, whispering through rock for millions of years. Each turn, each ripple is a mark of patience. The water does not hurry. It shapes the world through persistence, through softness that endures. You think of that. How something so gentle could sculpt something so vast. As you gaze deeper, the canyon feels less like a place and more like a living memory. A cathedral of time, carved by elements and silence. You imagine the layers beneath your feet, each one a page in the planet's diary. Limestone, sandstone, shale, formed by ancient seas, winds, and volcanic dust. The colors tell stories older than language. They remind you that even stone once moved, once drifted, once flowed like clouds. A bird glides across the widening sky, its wings steady against the pale light. You follow its path with your mind, tracing invisible lines of air rising from the canyon floor. The bird doesn't struggle. It simply lets the wind carry it. You feel that same ease move through you. The gentle lift of surrender, the peace of drifting exactly where you're meant to be. The sun climbs higher now, and the walls shimmer in soft gradients. Shadows retreat slowly, curling back into cool crevices. The river glows brighter, a ribbon of light threading through stone. You can almost hear the rhythm of the canyon now. A soft hum beneath all things. It's not a sound, but a pulse, the quiet heartbeat of an ancient world. You imagine the first people who walked here long ago. They must have stood as you do now, filled with quiet awe. They would have seen the same sunrise, felt the same chill before warmth, heard the same call of distant wind. Their stories still echo in the stones, woven into petroglyphs and pathways, carved by human hands that once reached toward the sky. As the light spreads, you notice the patterns in the rock, the delicate lines where minerals crystallized, where rainwater carved its path, where fossils rest. Tiny shells, once part of ocean floors, now embedded in canyon walls thousands of feet above sea level. The Grand Canyon was once a sea, a desert, a forest, a riverbed. It has worn many faces, each one layered gently over the last. You imagine Earth itself as a painter, slowly adding color, texture, and depth, stroke by patient stroke. You close your eyes and listen. The wind drifts softly over the rim, brushing past your skin like a whisper. It moves in gentle circles, rising and falling like breathing. Somewhere, the faint cry of an eagle carries across the canyon. Its sound fades and returns, bending in the air like an echo of freedom. Everything feels connected. The wind, the light, the river, your heartbeat. You picture the canyon at night, bathed in silver. Then at noon, blazing gold. Then in storm, shrouded in mist. Each moment transforms it, yet the essence remains unchanged. That stillness beneath all change. You realize this same rhythm exists in you, the endless cycle of renewal, of quiet transformation. You, too, are layers of time, shaped by gentle forces unseen. The warmth of the morning deepens. You feel sunlight soaking into the stones, into your skin, into the spaces between thoughts. The air flickers faintly with heat, carrying the scent of juniper and dust. Tiny insects hover, glimmering like specks of light. Somewhere nearby, a lizard slips between cracks, quick and silent. Life here is quiet but constant, woven into every crevice, every grain of sand. As you breathe, your thoughts drift like clouds. You feel lighter, quieter, smaller, but in a way that feels right. You are part of this immensity, not apart from it. The canyon holds you the way the sky holds light, without effort, without demand. Its vastness is not empty, but full of memory, of space, of time stretched so wide that even silence feels eternal. You imagine the river beneath the surface, its water cool, steady, flowing towards some unseen horizon. Each drop journeys onward, never lost, never rushed. You think of all the rivers in the world, all the oceans they meet, and how eventually, every drop becomes part of something larger. The canyon is a reminder of that everything, no matter how small, belongs to something infinite. The wind shifts again, bringing the faint sound of the river below. You can't see it clearly from where you stand, but you can feel it. It's there, hidden by distance, whispering like a memory. You imagine following its path, tracing every bend, every eddy, every gleam of light on the surface. You follow it in your mind until the world becomes water and sky, endlessly merging, endlessly flowing. Above, the sun has risen fully now, and the colors of the canyon blaze with life. Crimson ridges, golden cliffs, purple shadows stretching like silk. The light flickers across the walls like waves, dancing softly over a frozen sea of stone. You imagine those waves moving, slow as thought, carving, reshaping, breathing new forms into being. The canyon becomes an ocean again, this time made of time itself. You take another breath, slow and deep, letting it fill every part of you. You feel the quiet gravity of this place, the way it anchors you to the moment. You sense how even the wind seems to move in spirals, tracing invisible paths that mirror the river below. It's all connected. The air, the earth, the water, the light, all flowing together endlessly like one vast exhale. The warmth against your skin softens. A single cloud drifts across the sun, shading the canyon in silver blue. The shadows deepen again, cool and comforting. You imagine the day stretching ahead, long and unhurried, the light slowly shifting, the air shimmering in waves. The canyon breathes, and you breathe with it. Time slows, then fades, then becomes something else entirely. And as you drift deeper into stillness, the world around you continues its gentle motion. The river hums, the wind moves. The sunlight glows softly across stone that has seen the rise and fall of ages. You feel it all, the history, the quiet, the infinite calm. And you let it carry you, like the river, toward whatever comes next. You imagine yourself standing at the canyon's rim as twilight begins to fall. The sun dips low, painting the horizon in soft shades of gold and lavender. The air cools gently, brushing against your skin like silk. You can almost hear the canyon exhale as the day folds itself into night. The light fades slowly, gracefully, like the last chord of a quiet song. As shadows deepen, the first stars blink into being, delicate and precise. One by one, they gather until the entire sky becomes a slow river of light. You look up, and for a moment, it feels as though the earth has vanished beneath you. There is only you, the stars, and the silent canyon stretching endlessly below. The world seems to pause, balanced between stillness and infinity. You imagine the stars reflected faintly in the river far below. The Colorado shimmers like a moving mirror, carrying bits of starlight through the depths. The air feels impossibly clear. Each breath you take feels lighter than the one before. You can taste the faint coolness of minerals, the soft dust of time carried by the wind. Everything around you hums with quiet energy. The Grand Canyon at night feels like a planet of its own, a world within a world. The walls, once painted in red and gold, now shift to silvers and blues. The moon rises slowly, its light touching the cliffs like water poured over stone. Every ridge and crevice glows softly, and shadows move like tides. The canyon seems to breathe with the rhythm of the universe itself. You think about the silence here. Not empty, but full. It's the kind of silence that carries echoes of everything that ever was. You imagine ancient rainstorms pounding these rocks. You imagine rivers swelling, wind howling, and distant stars being born. All of that is here, held in the stillness. The canyon listens, and in that listening, it becomes something eternal. Somewhere above, a meteor streaks across the sky. A quick line of silver fire, vanishing almost as soon as it appears. You follow it with your eyes, tracing the path it left behind. You think of how it traveled millions of miles through cold, dark space to burn for just a heartbeat above this place. The canyon seems to hold its glow a little longer, as though remembering it. You can hear faint sounds now, soft and sparse. The rustle of a bat's wings, the whisper of wind sliding through cracks in the stone, the quiet ticking of cooling rock as it releases the heat of the day. Each sound feels close, intimate, even though the canyon itself is vast beyond comprehension. It's as if everything here speaks in a language of stillness, one your body instinctively understands. You tilt your head back again, watching the Milky Way rise. It stretches across the night like a vast river of light and dust. Billions of stars woven together in an ancient current. You imagine floating upward, drifting through that cosmic canyon, gliding between glowing clouds of stardust. The universe feels close, as if you could reach out and touch it. The longer you gaze, the more you sense how the canyon mirrors the cosmos. The way each layer of rock tells a story of time, just as each star tells a story of space. Both are vast, both are patient. Both shaped by forces that move slowly, invisibly, beyond human rhythm. You realize that this connection between stone and star is the quiet pulse that holds everything together. You take a deep breath. The air is cool, dry, and ancient. It smells faintly of sagebrush and stone. You let the scent fill you, grounding you in the moment. Above you, satellites drift silently across the sky, like slow-moving fireflies. You imagine them circling endlessly. Watching this same canyon from the edge of space, tiny witnesses to eternity. You think about the light from those distant stars, how it has traveled for millions, even billions, of years just to reach you. The thought makes you feel small, but in a peaceful way. You are a single moment, illuminated by time that began before Earth was born. And yet, the canyon holds you, makes you feel timeless too. For this breath, this heartbeat, you are part of the same ancient rhythm. Somewhere down below, the river moves, dark and slow. You can't see it clearly, but you can feel its presence, like a steady whisper. It's been flowing for millions of years, carving this masterpiece of stone. You imagine it reflecting starlight on its surface, moving with purpose and grace through the canyon's quiet heart. Each droplet carries a memory of rain, of glacier, of cloud, and continues its journey without pause. You sit for a while, letting the silence settle deeper. The night wraps around you like a soft blanket. You feel its weight, cool and comforting, pressing gently against your thoughts. The longer you stay still, the more you feel the canyon breathing with you. Each inhale is a soft wind rising from below. Each exhale, a hush that stretches across the horizon. Far off, lightning flickers behind distant clouds. The storm is miles away, but its light travels across the desert, illuminating the canyon in brief flashes. For a moment, you see everything. The vast walls, the winding river, the horizon stretching into forever. Then darkness again. The pattern repeats: light, shadow, silence. Like the pulse of the earth beneath your feet. You imagine how many creatures are awake now. Owls gliding through the night air, hunting in silence. Small mammals rustling in the underbrush. Insects humming softly near the rocks. Each life is tiny, but perfectly tuned to this landscape. The canyon is not empty at night. It's alive with hidden movement, with quiet songs too soft for human ears. You think of how many nights like this have passed here. Millions, perhaps billions. The stars have turned and turned again, while the canyon watched in patient silence. You imagine those same stars shining down on ancient travelers, on creatures that no longer exist, on oceans that once covered this land. Every photon of light holds memory, and tonight, it writes another moment into the canyon's endless story. You lie back on the cool stone, feeling its rough texture beneath your hands. It's firm, solid, eternal, yet warm from the sun that touched it earlier. You can feel the faint vibration of the earth, the smallest hum, deep and constant. It's the sound of tectonic plates shifting, of rivers flowing, of wind passing through stone. It's the sound of time moving, too slowly to measure. As the moon climbs higher, the canyon glows like a dream. Its edges blur into the night, soft and infinite. You imagine the walls breathing, expanding and contracting with each breeze. You become part of that rhythm. Your heart slows. Your thoughts drift. The canyon is no longer separate from you. It feels like an extension of your own mind, vast and peaceful. The wind carries the scent of the river now, faint but sweet. You can almost hear it speaking, a language of ripples and murmurs. Each sound feels like a story half remembered, as if the water has been whispering to the stones for centuries. You imagine those stories rising in the mist at dawn, carried away to the stars, returning as rain in another age. The night deepens. The stars brighten. The canyon settles into complete silence again. You sense the world turning slowly beneath you, the slow, steady spin of the planet through space. The sky above feels infinite, and yet it feels close, like a canopy of shimmering breath. Every sound, every sight, every flicker of light folds together into one vast, living stillness. And as you breathe within that stillness, something soft shifts inside you. You feel the same patience that shapes rivers, the same quiet power that carves stone. The canyon doesn't rush. It simply exists, vast and awake, beneath the timeless light of stars. And you, in this moment, drift gently beside it. Weightless, calm, endless. Part of everything that is, and everything that ever was. You imagine the canyon under a sky heavy with drifting clouds. The day has cooled, and the wind carries the faint scent of rain mixed with red dust. The horizon stretches endlessly, a meeting place of sky and stone, of distance and silence. You stand at the rim, gazing into the vast maze of ridges and shadows. Everything feels still, as if the earth itself is pausing to listen. The first raindrops begin to fall, soft, sparse, hesitant. They land on your skin like cool whispers. You can hear them touch the rock, each drop echoing faintly through the canyon below. The sound is delicate but ancient, as if the land remembers every rainfall that has ever passed this way. You breathe in, and the air feels alive, charged with the quiet electricity of renewal. As the rain deepens, the colors of the canyon change. The stones darken, glowing richer under the soft gray light. The scent of petrichor rises, earthy, clean, full of memory. You imagine how many times this ritual has repeated across millennia. Storm after storm, season after season, each drop tracing the same eternal paths down the stone. Water finds every crack, every curve, every forgotten line in the earth's face. You watch rivulets form, gathering into tiny streams that snake across the cliffs. They shimmer as they fall, silver threads unspooling down the canyon's vast walls. Somewhere below, they merge into the river, each droplet joining a story that began long before words. You imagine the Colorado River, swollen and strong, its surface broken by ripples and light. It moves with patience, carrying mountains grain by grain toward the distant sea. Thunder murmurs across the horizon, low and deep. It rolls slowly, reverberating through your chest, through the canyon's hidden chambers. You feel it, not as a sound, but as a vibration in the air itself. Lightning flickers behind the clouds, painting brief veins of silver across the sky. Each flash reveals the canyon's shape for an instant. Vast, sculpted, alive, then darkness returns, and you are left with the soft rhythm of rain. You imagine the canyon as a living thing, drinking deeply from the sky. Every drop absorbed, every pool filling with life. Small seeds awaken in the damp soil, tiny green dreams unfurling in the quiet dark. The desert, patient and silent, begins to breathe again. You imagine roots stretching deeper, finding water hidden in ancient cracks, connecting everything beneath the surface. The rain becomes steady now, a soft music that covers everything. You close your eyes and let it surround you. It sounds like the whisper of time itself, like distant oceans returning home. The cool drops trace paths along your face, mingling with the warmth of your breath. For a moment, there is no separation between you and the canyon. You are both being washed clean by the same gentle rhythm. You think of how water has shaped this place for millions of years. Not through power, but through patience. Every curve, every wall, every echoing chamber carved by the slow persistence of rain. You realize how much strength lives in softness. The canyon wasn't built in storms of fury, but in steady, endless touch. Just as thoughts shape the mind, drop by drop, water shapes the world. The air cools further. Mist begins to rise from the canyon floor, soft and ghost-like. It drifts upward, weaving between cliffs, wrapping the stones in quiet veils. You imagine that mist as the canyon's breath, rising from its depths to greet the clouds. It carries the scent of wet earth and old minerals, ancient perfumes distilled from time itself. The world feels suspended between air and stone, between movement and stillness. The rain begins to slow, falling in gentler rhythms. You can hear individual drops now, each landing with its own delicate voice. Somewhere far below, small waterfalls trickle, joining in secret harmony. The river glows faintly beneath the fading storm, reflecting shards of pale light through the fog. Everything glimmers, subtle, dreamlike, alive. You imagine the storm drifting east, leaving behind a calm so profound it feels sacred. The clouds pull apart, revealing patches of soft blue sky. Sunlight filters through, warm and golden, touching the canyon walls with renewed color. The wet rocks gleam like polished jewels, amber, rose, crimson, and violet. The air sparkles with the last falling drops, tiny prisms of fading rain. You feel warmth return to the ground beneath your feet. Steam rises gently, curling like breath from the canyon floor. It mingles with the cool mist, creating ribbons of light that twist and vanish. You imagine the water seeping deeper into the earth, filling unseen veins that run for miles. Down there, in the dark, life awakens quietly. Seeds swell, roots stir, and small creatures emerge from hidden shelters to drink. The storm has passed, but its memory lingers in the air. The canyon feels cleaner, younger, as if it has just been reborn. Every sound, every drip, every rustle, every whisper of wind feels amplified in the quiet that follows. You listen closely and can almost hear the ground absorbing the last of the rain. The sound is faint, like fabric being folded, like the earth settling into sleep. Above, the sky opens completely, vast and pure. The clouds drift away in slow procession, revealing a deep blue canvas. You imagine the sun high above, watching everything with calm, patient warmth. Its light dances across the wet stone, turning puddles into mirrors. You see your reflection ripple in them, merging with the shapes of the canyon. For a moment, you and the landscape become one. Your edges blurred by reflection, your form lost to light. You think about how water, stone, and sunlight are bound in an endless cycle. Rain falls, rivers carve, heat returns. The canyon changes but never truly ends. It's a conversation between sky and earth that has lasted longer than human memory. Each drop, each gust of wind, each beam of light, each is a word in that quiet, ongoing dialogue. The wind stirs again, gentle and cool. It carries the scent of wet earth and sage. You breathe it in deeply, letting it fill your chest. The world feels new again, as though creation has just begun. The silence that follows the storm is not emptiness, it's fullness. It's the sound of the world listening to itself. Far in the distance, the river continues its endless journey. You imagine the water glittering under new sunlight, winding slowly between the cliffs. The sound of it is like a lullaby, steady, eternal, soothing. You can almost see the light catching on the ripples, tiny sparks drifting away toward unseen horizons. Everything here moves, but nothing rushes. Time stretches, uncoiling into infinity. You feel the warmth of the canyon beneath you, the cool air above you, and the steady hum of life between them. The rain may have passed, but its rhythm lingers, soft and patient. You feel it in your pulse, in your breathing, in the spaces between thoughts. The world is quiet now, but not asleep, just resting, waiting, dreaming of the next drop to fall. And as you drift deeper into that quiet, you imagine the storm's memory fading into the canyon's heart. The sky softens to pale gold. The river hums softly in the distance. The air carries both moisture and warmth, like a sigh of balance. You listen, and in the distance, you can almost hear it. The faint, endless whisper of water meeting stone, again and again, forever. You imagine yourself beneath a vast night sky, so deep and endless it almost hums. Stars scatter across it like ancient seeds of light, blooming quietly in the dark. The air is cool and still, carrying a faint scent of dust and distant pine. You breathe slowly, feeling the calm of the cosmos settle over you like a gentle tide. Somewhere above, galaxies turn silently, their motion too vast for human sense to grasp. You think about how every speck of light began as a flame inside a star. Hydrogen and helium, simple elements born from the Big Bang, fusing together in immense pressure and heat. Inside those stars, new elements were born: carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, iron. The building blocks of oceans, mountains, forests, and you. It feels humbling. Knowing your breath carries the memory of collapsed stars, knowing your heartbeat echoes ancient light. As you gaze upward, you imagine the Milky Way stretching across the sky like a silver river. Each pinprick of light is a sun, with worlds orbiting in quiet circles. Perhaps some of those worlds have oceans, or winds, or creatures who also look up in wonder. The thought drifts through your mind like a soft current, life reflecting upon life. Separated by impossible distances yet bound by the same cosmic dust, you feel small but not alone. The earth turns slowly beneath you. You feel it, even if you cannot sense its motion. The ground hums faintly with the whisper of tectonic plates shifting deep beneath your feet. Every grain of sand, every stone, every leaf on the wind moves because the planet is alive with energy. You imagine the molten heart of the earth glowing below, like an ember wrapped in oceans and air. It pulses gently, a heartbeat made of rock and time. Your thoughts drift outward again, to the stars that formed before the earth existed. Billions of years ago, the universe was darker, simpler, a vast ocean of gas and light. Then gravity began its quiet work, drawing clouds together, sparking the first stars. Their light filled the void, pushing back the darkness. Every explosion, every flare, every dying sun left behind something new. Matter scattered across space, waiting to become something else. You realize you are part of that same unfolding, a continuation of cosmic rhythm. A meteor crosses the sky, bright and fleeting. It burns up in silence, leaving a faint silver trail that fades into memory. You imagine it once drifted for millions of years, a small traveler carrying the dust of other worlds. Its fall through Earth's atmosphere is brief, but in that moment, it becomes light, its purpose fulfilled in a final spark. You feel a quiet kinship with it, the beauty of brief existence glowing against the infinite. The night grows deeper, and your eyes adjust to the darkness. You begin to see more stars, thousands, perhaps millions, each one steady and patient. They flicker through layers of air and memory, their light traveling unimaginable distances to reach you. Some of the stars you see are already gone, their light the echo of what once was. Yet it still shines, still warms the sky, reminding you that even endings leave illumination behind. You imagine the constellations as great stories written across the heavens, shapes of myth and science intertwined. Orion's belt, Cassiopeia's chair, the Great Bear lumbering across the pole. Ancient peoples once looked upon these same lights and saw gods, creatures, heroes. You see hydrogen, plasma, fusion, but also beauty, mystery, connection. Both visions feel true. The universe is both story and structure, both science and song. The air cools around you. You can hear crickets whispering in the grass, their rhythm steady and small against the cosmic silence. Each sound feels grounding, a reminder that even under infinite stars, life hums quietly here on Earth. You run your hand through the soil beside you and feel its dampness, the minerals born from ancient stardust. Even the ground beneath you is celestial, just slower, denser, more patient in its transformation. You imagine drifting upward now, slowly, as if gravity is loosening its hold. The earth grows smaller beneath you, its blues and greens blending into a soft swirl. You can see the thin curve of its atmosphere, glowing faintly with sunlight. Above you, the darkness expands, filled with quiet fires. There is no sound, only stillness, a kind of peace that feels infinite. You pass satellites, tiny mirrors reflecting sunlight back toward the world. Their motion is precise, their purpose practical, yet they seem almost poetic from here. Human-made stars circling the cradle that birthed them. You think of how far humanity has reached, and how far there still is to go. Each step upward, each discovery, feels like another heartbeat of curiosity echoing through space. Further still, the moon appears. It glows with a pale, ancient light, cratered and calm. Its face is familiar, the same one that has watched over oceans and forests for billions of years. You imagine standing on its surface, the earth rising blue and fragile in the black sky. You can almost feel the dust beneath your feet, fine and soft, untouched by wind or rain. The silence there is not empty, it is sacred, full of quiet understanding. You drift past the moon, farther into the deep. The planets appear one by one, each carrying its own rhythm, its own song. Mars with its red deserts and silent valleys. Jupiter swirling in storms, so large they could swallow worlds. Saturn, wearing its rings of ice and dust like ancient jewelry. You can almost hear their hum, low and resonant, as if the solar system itself is breathing. Light fades the farther you go. The warmth of the sun softens, and darkness gathers like a velvet sea. Between the stars stretches vast emptiness. Cold, quiet, eternal. Yet even here, particles dance. Invisible fields connect everything, faint as whispers but real as breath. You imagine those invisible lines of energy stretching between galaxies, connecting stars like notes in a universal melody. You sense how enormous it all is. Trillions of galaxies, each holding billions of stars, each star with its own planets. Each planet its own possibilities. The scale is dizzying, but strangely comforting. You realize how small you are, yet how deeply connected to all of it. You are made of the same atoms, the same ancient fire, the same cosmic breath that shaped everything you see. In the darkness, you imagine the faint afterglow of the Big Bang, the cosmic background radiation still whispering through space. It's the oldest light, a relic of the universe's first breath. It hums softly, everywhere, in every direction, carrying memory through the void. You picture it as a gentle warmth, like the echo of a lullaby sung at the beginning of time. The stars shimmer above, steady and kind. You feel their light resting on your skin, faint but constant. Every photon that touches you has traveled through unimaginable distance, past gravity wells, dust clouds, and time itself, just to meet you here. You are part of their journey, a brief resting place in their endless voyage. It feels peaceful, knowing you are touched by the universe in ways unseen. You imagine drifting again, falling gently back toward the world. The earth swells beneath you, beautiful, alive, glowing in its thin halo of air. You see the continents, the oceans, the ribbons of light from sleeping cities. It feels like home, small and precious, suspended in endless night. You understand why astronauts often cry when they first see it from above. As you descend, the air thickens. You pass through layers of atmosphere, each one whispering with wind. The stars fade gradually behind a veil of blue, then cloud, then dusk. You feel the warmth of the world returning, the hum of gravity reclaiming you. The sky darkens again, but this time from below, the slow turning of night beginning once more. You find yourself lying back on the grass, the stars above where they always were. The wind has quieted. The earth turns on, steady and sure, as it has for ages. You feel your heart beat soft and patient, keeping time with the rotation of the world. Somewhere far away, light still travels toward you from stars long gone, still crossing space, still whispering. You imagine yourself standing on the edge of a quiet cliff, where the world feels paused. The wind moves softly across your skin, gentle as a whisper from time itself. The canyon below glows in shades of red and gold, its walls breathing with evening light. You can almost hear the slow exhale of the earth, the sigh of ancient stone settling into its long sleep. The sky stretches endlessly above, a soft canvas brushed with the last warmth of the sun. As you breathe in, the air tastes of dust, pine, and the faint scent of rain. The Grand Canyon is vast, yet delicate in its silence. Every rock here holds a secret, an echo from a time when oceans covered this place. You imagine the waves, shimmering under an ancient sun, retreating slowly as the continents shifted and the world reshaped itself. Somewhere deep beneath your feet, the ghosts of seashells lie fossilized, reminders of a world that once breathed water instead of air. The light fades, and shadows begin to stretch like ribbons across the canyon floor. You watch them move, fluid and alive, like the surface of a sleeping sea. The rocks change color as the sun sets, burnt orange softening to rose, then violet, then the cool gray of twilight. You think about how stone, though still to your eyes, is always moving in the language of ones. Every grain, every layer, a record of wind, pressure, and the quiet patience of time. You close your eyes and imagine drifting downward, into the canyon's ancient heart. The air grows cooler as you descend, carrying the scent of minerals and wild sage. Around you, the cliffs rise like cathedral walls, painted with the brushstrokes of millions of years. Each layer tells a story. The bright Kaibab limestone at the top, the deep red shales, the Vishnu schist, nearly 2 billion years old. You feel the weight of that time around you, vast and silent, and you feel small, but deeply connected. A soft breeze drifts through the chasm, weaving through the rocks like a slow breath. You can almost hear the earth dreaming. The Colorado River murmurs below, its voice steady and eternal. You picture its waters glinting in moonlight, carving slowly through stone, as if writing the planet's longest lullaby. Over millions of years, it has shaped this place with nothing more than persistence and time, proving that even the gentlest forces can sculpt worlds. You imagine dipping your hand into the river's current. The water is cool, carrying the touch of distant snowmelt from the Rocky Mountains. It flows past your fingers like liquid glass, reflecting stars just beginning to appear overhead. Somewhere far away, that same river once flowed differently, older paths now lost to the ages. You sense how nothing here is truly still, only moving too slowly for your eyes to see. As darkness deepens, the canyon transforms. The air hums with the sound of life awakening. Night birds calling softly, crickets weaving their small symphony. You lie back on the cool stone, gazing upward. The sky opens wide, filled with galaxies and memories of light that began their journey before you were born. The Milky Way spills across the heavens like a silver river, mirroring the Colorado below. You feel suspended between two infinities, water and starlight, time and silence. You think about the stars reflected in the river, how they seem to shimmer both above and below. It's as if the canyon holds a mirror to the universe, a reminder that everything is connected through reflection and rhythm. You imagine each photon, each particle of dust, each grain of sand, tiny echoes of the same cosmic story. The universe folds inward here, quiet and tender, as if it too has come to rest. Your mind drifts to the creatures that call this canyon home. The owl gliding silently through the night, its wings cutting the air without a sound. The mountain lion, hidden among the cliffs, its gaze ancient and still. The condor soaring high above, its shadow gliding over rock and river alike. Each life, no matter how small or grand, adds a breath to this living monument. You feel that breath join your own, a shared rhythm with the world. You imagine how long this place has existed. How many dawns have poured light into its depths, how many storms have passed over its rim. For every second of your heartbeat, the canyon has witnessed a million moments. Lightning, snow, wind, stars, all shaping it in their own quiet ways. You sense that the earth is patient, its memory vast and unfathomable. Somewhere in the darkness, a faint breeze stirs dust into motion. The particles rise slowly, shimmering in the starlight like tiny constellations caught in the air. You watch them swirl, timeless and gentle, before settling again into the stone. The canyon breathes them in, reclaiming them, turning even dust into part of its slow rhythm. You realize that everything, even stillness, is a kind of movement when time stretches long enough. You imagine time itself as a river, flowing endlessly through the canyon's heart. Each century is a ripple, each millennium a bend in the water's path. The stones beside you are like ancient witnesses, carved smooth by ages of flowing moments. You see how nothing is lost, only transformed, layered, softened, carried onward in the quiet procession of existence. The night deepens further. The air grows cooler, and the stars sharpen above you like crystal lights. You can almost feel their quiet energy pressing gently down upon the world. Somewhere, a faint glow begins at the horizon, the soft hint of moonrise. Its silver light spills slowly across the canyon, tracing every ridge and curve in gentle luminescence. The rocks shine faintly, their surfaces reflecting 1,000 shades of gray and blue. You feel as though you are floating, suspended between the ancient earth and the eternal sky. The moon climbs higher, and the canyon glows like a dream. You watch as the river catches the light, twisting it into ripples that dance across the walls. Everything feels connected. The stars, the moon, the stone, the water, your breath. You realize that the Grand Canyon isn't just a place. It's a rhythm, a vast heartbeat made visible in stone. You imagine the ages still to come. The river continuing its slow carving, the cliffs weathering grain by grain. New layers forming, old ones vanishing into dust. Perhaps someday, far beyond your lifetime, this place will look different. Wider, deeper, reshaped by the persistence of time. Yet its essence will remain a vast memory of movement, of transformation, of endurance. The wind softens, the crickets quiet. The canyon seems to listen. You can almost feel the stars drawing closer, their light falling upon you like gentle rain. The river hums far below, a thread of sound connecting all things. The stone, the sky, the silence. You close your eyes and breathe slowly, your thoughts drifting like silt in the water's flow. Somewhere in the distance, an owl calls again, its voice low and patient. You hear it echo through the canyon, bouncing softly between the walls before fading into quiet. The air is still, heavy with peace. You feel as though the earth itself has slowed its heartbeat to match your own. The canyon cradles you in its vastness, holding you steady as you drift towards sleep. You imagine yourself standing at the rim of the Grand Canyon as dawn begins to bloom. The first rays of light spill slowly across the stone, gentle and golden like liquid warmth. The shadows retreat inch by inch, revealing layers of color, deep red, soft amber, and pale rose. You breathe deeply, and the air feels alive, carrying the scent of juniper and distant rain. Everything around you is quiet, except for the faint hum of wind sweeping through the canyon's ancient corridors. You watch as sunlight touches the upper cliffs, igniting them like glowing embers in the cool morning air. The world feels new, but also impossibly old. Every rock here has seen 1,000 sunrises. Every grain of sand has known the weight of time. The canyon doesn't rush. It simply endures, patient and unbothered by the pace of human lives. You feel your own heartbeat slow, syncing with the earth's calm rhythm. The walls of the canyon seem to stretch forever downward, layer upon layer of ancient memory. You imagine those layers as pages in a cosmic book, each one recording a chapter of Earth's long story. Limestone, shale, sandstone. Each holds traces of vanished seas, of creatures that once swam through warm waters that covered this desert. You picture coral reefs blooming here millions of years ago, sunlight filtering through clear blue waves, where now only dry wind drifts. Time feels soft, fluid, folding gently in your mind. You step closer to the edge, where the air grows lighter and cooler. The canyon opens before you like a vast ocean made of stone. The Colorado River glimmers faintly below, a silver thread weaving through the shadows. You imagine its slow persistence, carving this landscape grain by grain, century by century. It whispers the same story over and over, one of change, of endurance, of quiet creation. As you gaze across the horizon, you notice how the colors shift with the moving sun. Gold becomes orange. Orange deepens into crimson, then fades into violet and gray. The canyon breathes light the way forests breathe air. Even the stillness feels alive, pulsing faintly with the warmth of the day. You close your eyes for a moment and let that warmth sink into your skin, gentle as a lullaby. In your mind, the canyon transforms into something larger than itself. You see it not just as rock and river, but as a mirror of the cosmos. The same processes that shape stars, the forces of pressure, heat, and time, also sculpted this valley. The stone beneath your feet once existed as dust and minerals floating in primordial seas. Over billions of years, those particles fused, rose, and eroded again, a cosmic rhythm that never ends. You feel a quiet awe, realizing you are standing in the middle of eternity. A soft breeze rises, winding through the canyons like a gentle melody. It carries the scent of sagebrush and iron, the whisper of storms from far away. You hear the faint cry of a hawk echoing against the cliffs, its voice stretching across miles of open air. The sound fades, leaving behind silence so deep it feels like a physical thing. You realize that silence isn't empty. It's full, dense with presence, rich with the sound of time moving slowly. As you breathe, you imagine yourself dissolving into that silence. Your body feels light, almost transparent. The boundary between you and the canyon begins to blur. You are no longer a visitor, but a part of this place. The wind that moves through it, the dust that settles, the quiet pulse of existence that hums beneath it all. The world shrinks and expands at once, folding around you like a comforting sky. The light continues to rise, painting the cliffs in new colors with each passing minute. You notice patterns in the rock, lines and swirls carved by ancient currents of water and air. They look almost like the flow of galaxies, the spiral of clouds on Jupiter, the hools of fingerprints. Nature repeats itself everywhere, from the smallest crystal to the vastest star. You realize that beauty is simply structure made visible, a harmony the universe cannot help but create. Far below, the Colorado River glints again. You picture it beginning high in the mountains, melting from snow into streams that find each other and merge. You imagine their journey across valleys and forests, collecting minerals, reflecting sky, shaping the land with gentle persistence. Every drop of water that passes through the canyon is part of something much larger, an endless cycle that connects mountain to sea, sky to soil, life to stone. You feel yourself drawn into that cycle, your breath flowing in rhythm with it. A raven passes overhead, black wings catching the morning light. It circles once, gliding effortlessly, then disappears into the distance. You follow its path with your eyes and see the horizon stretching endlessly in every direction. The world feels vast, yet calm, its immensity softened by peace. You think of how long this canyon has waited, how patient it has been through storms, heat, and ages of erosion. Nothing here hurries, and that realization feels like a kind of grace. The air grows warmer, carrying faint sounds from the world above, the rustle of leaves, the far-off echo of water against stone. You imagine how those sounds would have echoed millions of years ago, when dinosaurs might have walked through this same region. Or how, long before that, small marine creatures once moved across the seabed that became this desert floor. Life rises and fades, but the canyon remains, holding the memory of every era like the pages of an endless story. You sit down on the edge, your legs hanging above the vast drop, your hands pressed into the cool stone. The surface feels rough, but steady, ancient and kind. You can sense the minerals within it, each one formed through pressure and heat beyond imagining. Quartz, feldspar, hematite, all shimmering faintly when the light catches just right. They have endured everything: floods, winds, glaciers, heat. You wonder if endurance might be its own quiet kind of wisdom. A cloud drifts overhead, softening the light. The canyon dims for a moment, and the mood changes. Shadows move like water across the cliffs, deep and fluid. The air thickens slightly, the scent of rain more distinct now. You listen closely and think you can hear the faint patter of droplets far in the distance. The earth breathes differently when rain comes. Cooler, slower content. You feel that same calm settling into you. You tilt your head back, watching the sky darken slightly as the day matures. The blue deepens into something almost oceanic, endless and alive. You can almost feel yourself floating upward into it, drifting between layers of wind and cloud. Somewhere above the thin veil of air, space begins, silent, infinite, scattered with light. The same light that once touched the first stars now touches you. The realization feels soft, like a whisper through your mind. You imagine the canyon beneath starlight now, quiet and silvered in the cool night. The river glows faintly under the moon, tracing ancient patterns in the dark. The walls reflect soft shadows, their edges blurred by distance and time. You think of how many nights like this have come before. How many eyes have watched this same sky, this same stretch of stone. Each one a brief spark in the story of something far greater. You can almost hear the slow rhythm of time, like the beat of a distant drum. It pulses through everything: the stones, the water, the stars. It's in the rise of mountains, in the fall of rivers, in the silent drift of clouds. You realize that everything is moving, even stillness itself. Every moment, every breath, part of the same infinite unfolding. The air cools again. The day begins to fade. You feel the first touch of evening against your skin, soft as a sigh. The canyon glows in twilight, its edges softening, its depths deepening into velvet shadow. You take one last slow breath, tasting the air that has passed through centuries of time. The sky darkens further, and stars begin to appear one by one, patient and bright. You lie back on the stone, the world stretching endlessly above and below. The canyon holds its silence like a sacred secret, and you feel yourself melting into it. The wind moves gently, carrying whispers of water, echoes of ancient light. You close your eyes and drift, your breath sensing with the pulse of the earth. Somewhere far below, the river keeps flowing, its quiet voice mingling with the stars, the stone, and the sound of your slowing thoughts. You imagine a great tree standing at the edge of a quiet forest clearing. Its branches stretch wide, like arms welcoming the dawn, and its roots run deep, curling through layers of dark, ancient soil. The air is still except for the soft murmur of leaves, whispering secrets to the wind. You can almost hear the slow rhythm of the earth beneath your feet, the heartbeat of a planet breathing through its roots and rivers. Each breath you take feels calmer, slower, as if sensing with something much older than yourself. The forest around you glows faintly in the early light. Mist drifts between trunks like threads of silver, wrapping everything in soft stillness. You can smell the faint sweetness of moss and rain, soaked bark. Drops of dew cling to blades of grass, each one holding a tiny, perfect reflection of the sky. You kneel to look closer, and within that reflection, You see entire worlds shimmering quietly, waiting to be noticed. You imagine the roots of the great tree stretching for miles beneath the earth, touching others, sharing silent messages through webs of fungus and mineral. Scientists call it the Wood Wide Web, a living network that lets trees talk to one another. Nutrients flow like invisible rivers between them. When one tree suffers, another gives. When sunlight is scarce, they share energy through unseen threads of life. You imagine this vast network pulsing softly, a heartbeat beneath the soil connecting everything. As you listen, you realize that the forest is never truly silent. The leaves sigh with wind. The soil hums with the slow rhythm of decomposition and rebirth. Tiny insects whisper beneath fallen leaves, their movements like grains of sand shifting in an endless hourglass. The forest floor breathes, exhaling warmth into the cool air. You feel that breath on your skin, light as mist, carrying the scent of life itself. The sunlight grows stronger now, slipping between the branches like soft ribbons of gold. You watch them move, trembling as they meet the leaves, breaking into scattered patterns on the ground. The light seems to dance, alive and playful, and for a moment, it feels as though the forest is awake and smiling. You imagine each photon of light as a traveler from the sun, a particle that left its burning surface 8 minutes ago just to reach this quiet place. You tilt your head back and look up through the branches. The canopy sways gently, its motion slow and hypnotic, like the surface of a green ocean. Every leaf catches the light differently, reflecting emerald hues and soft shadows. You realize that each leaf is a tiny laboratory, turning sunlight into energy, water into nourishment, air into life. Photosynthesis. It's such a quiet miracle, happening millions of times around you at this very moment. You breathe deeper, knowing the air you take in is a gift the forest has made for you. Somewhere in the distance, you hear the call of a bird, high and melodic. The sound echoes gently, blending with the rustle of branches. The bird's song feels ancient, like a memory shared through generations. Its notes ripple across the clearing, touching bark, moss, and sky. You wonder if the tree beneath you listens, if it feels the vibration in its trunk, like a soft hum traveling through wood and time. The air warms as the day unfolds, and with it new scents rise. Pine resin, wildflowers, damp earth. You close your eyes and let the forest fill your senses. Each sound and scent weaves into a tapestry that feels both endless and fragile. You think about how forests breathe not just for themselves, but for everything. They inhale carbon, exhale oxygen, purify the air for every creature that moves through their shade. The entire planet depends on this steady rhythm of green life, pulsing quietly beneath the noise of civilization. You begin to notice smaller movements now, the flutter of wings, the crawl of an ant, the shimmer of a spider's web. The web catches sunlight like strands of glass, each thread trembling delicately with invisible vibrations. You imagine the spider waiting patiently, reading the messages of motion through the silk. Every ripple tells a story. A leaf that fell, a breeze that passed, a meal that wandered too close. Nature communicates in ways you can only sense at the edge of stillness. You think of how trees, too, sense the world in quiet ways. Their roots detect the pull of gravity, their leaves respond to touch, their trunks bend with the memory of wind. Some even release chemicals into the air when grazed upon, warning others nearby of danger. The forest is not silent. It's alive with conversation, carried on frequencies too soft for human ears. You realize that the world around you is always talking, always singing. If only you learn to listen differently. The light shifts again, deepening into amber tones. Dust motes drift lazily in the beams, each one spinning like a tiny planet in orbit. You imagine them as echoes of stars, bits of cosmic dust that once floated between galaxies before finding a home in this forest. The air you breathe now might have once belonged to a star's dying breath. Everything recycles, transforms, and continues. The trees inhale what you exhale, you breathe what they release. Life folds endlessly into itself, a soft and perfect loop. You reach out to touch the bark of the tree beside you. It's rough, layered, and cool beneath your fingertips. You trace its lines like reading an old story written in wood. The rings within tell of summers of rain, winters of frost, years of abundance, and years of quiet struggle. You realize the tree remembers in its own way, not with thoughts, but with texture, with the thickness of its heartwood, with the way it leans toward light. Time moves differently here, slower, more forgiving. The breeze stirs again, carrying a low hum from distant branches. It sounds like the forest sighing, or maybe the earth itself turning in its sleep. You breathe with it, matching its rhythm, letting your thoughts grow quieter. The more you listen, the more you hear. The faint tapping of insects, the soft slide of a leaf falling, the murmur of roots drinking from hidden streams. Every sound feels like part of a single great song, too vast to ever end. You imagine the moon rising here at night, pale light spilling through the branches, turning the forest silver. The trees would shimmer like statues made of breath and light. Owls would glide silently between them, wings cutting the air without a sound. The river nearby would glitter with moonlight, its surface smooth as glass, reflecting stars as if the sky had bent down to rest. You can almost hear the night's rhythm now, slow and deep like a heartbeat beneath water. In that moonlight, you think of how forests have always been places of dreaming. Humans once gathered around fires here, telling stories that drifted upward with the smoke. The sparks rose like constellations being born, tiny stars for a moment before vanishing into the dark. Maybe those stories still linger, woven into the roots, caught in the branches, whispering faintly whenever the wind passes through. You imagine yourself as part of that same lineage of dreamers, your thoughts mingling with theirs. Carried gently through time, you lie back against the roots of the tree, feeling its steady weight behind you. The ground is soft with fallen leaves, warm where the sunlight touches it. You close your eyes and let the sounds of the forest wash over you. Steady, soothing, eternal. Somewhere far above, leaves shimmer in a gentle rhythm, their movement like waves on a green sea. You feel your breath slow, matching the quiet pulse of the living world. The forest begins to dim again as twilight returns, the light thinning into silver and blue. Fireflies appear one by one, small lanterns in the growing dusk. Their glow feels ancient, almost sacred, like stars visiting the earth for just a moment. You watch them hover near the tree roots, blinking softly in a pattern too intricate to understand. The air cools, the world softens, and the forest seems to exhale in contentment. You listen to that breath, the deep, slow rhythm of nature's sleep, and feel your own mind drifting with it. The tree's branches above you stretch into the fading sky, tracing patterns that look almost like constellations. You imagine that somewhere, far beyond, real stars pulse in perfect harmony with these leaves. The universe and the forest breathing together, endless, eternal, peaceful. And as the wind sighs once more through the quiet night, you let yourself drift, light as dust, into the hush between one breath and the next.